What's up, guys and girls? Welcome to another video. This is going to be another one of the kind of podcast style videos, so sit back and relax. You can watch it or you can just leave it playing in the background.
Yeah, you don't have to look at our faces for this.
Yeah, you don't have to look at our faces for this. But so we're going to just have a chat. Allie actually doesn't even know what we're talking about yet.
No idea.
But I wrote this out, man, probably like 3 weeks ago because I wanted to film this video because I think it's an important one.
I saw another paper and I was like, I might have a clue, but it's definitely not that paper.
I write out all my video ideas on paper.
And you can barely read them.
Yeah. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about, check out, I wrote it down, the truth about reselling online full-time.
Oh.
So this is a question.
Don't know what to say about that.
We'll go through different things, but people ask us this all the time, like, what is the reality of reselling online? And we've never actually broken it down. You know, our YouTube videos are fun and exciting, and it shows like a snapshot of the reality of reselling. And I wanted to kind of get into the rawness of what reselling actually entails in today's video. Because it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Rawness.
And unicorns.
It can be, though.
Can be.
If you make it.
Yeah. So we're just going to talk about what it's like for us. We've been full-time resellers for over 5 years now. So
I think you're right.
Yeah. And we've been through trials and tribulations, ups and downs, and there's a lot more to reselling than just taking a picture of something and putting it on eBay for full-time reselling. So
yeah, a lot more.
Let's jump into it.
But as a hobby, that's basically all there is to it.
That's true.
Or like this little side hustle.
Yeah, but we're talking more about because a lot of people they want to make the transition. They want to go from a hobby, fun, part-time thing into full-time reselling. But I think that most resellers don't understand what it takes to do that.
Right. And that it might not be right for them.
100%. We're going to talk
right
about
for
that
everybody.
too.
Yeah.
So the first note that I made up here is the median household income for 2020 is $78,500.
Okay.
So that's the first thing you have to look at, I think, if you want to be a full-time reseller. And again, obviously that varies from state to state, and that's the household income, not a single income.
Right.
So it's the combined income of the household. And it varies from state to state. That's just the median, $78,500 a year.
For 2020 US.
Yeah, for 2020 US.
Okay.
Exactly. So
median, not average, guys.
Median, yeah. So that's the number that I'm going to use for what is considered full-time. To me, full-time reselling is, are you bringing home, take home $78,000 a year? Pre-tax, obviously. Because if you get a salary job for $78,000 a year, taxes come out of that.
Oh, you said household income that's not for two people?
It's for the household, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it could be
All
two
right.
people.
I'm sorry, I was just a little confused there.
Yeah, it could be one person, it could be two people.
You're saying as a single individual for your household, you're doing it based off of.
Yeah, I'm still going to do it.
Household.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think a lot of people who watch us, maybe they're doing it alone, maybe they have a partner they're doing it with, but overall, that's the number that I'm going based off of.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the first part of this video, I just want to break down the numbers so you can actually see what does this actually take. And then I'm going to go we can have a conversation about factors involved in that. So First numbers. So if you make an average profit per sale of $25.
Okay.
So if you sell something, if I sell this Space Jam figure.
With this one together. $25.
If we sell that together, well, let's say it sells for $40 and after fees and cost of goods and all that stuff, you make $25.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking about making profit, gross profit, pre-tax, $25 per sale.
Pre-tax.
Pre-tax, yeah. So again, going back to that $78,500 number, divided by $25, it's $3,140. You following?
Yeah.
That's the total number of items you would need to sell in a year to make $78,500.
Right.
Right? So, and I'm being very, very generous here. I'm going to say a 50% sell-through rate, right? So 6,280 items listed. So that means you would have to list, and we're mainly talking about eBay here, but this could pertain to any platform, right? eBay is our main focus, so that's kind of what we're talking about. But you would have to list 6,280 items per year and sell half of them to make $78,500.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
Cost of goods, how much you pay for each item. Let's say that it costs you $15 per item on average.
Okay.
Right? So you're paying $15 to profit $25. Really good. It's hard to do that, but we're going to go based on that.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, if you're paying $15 per item, you have to outlay, so money out, $94,200.
Wow.
So you're putting out in a year, obviously it's not all at once, but you're putting out $95,000 of cap of your own money out.
Yeah.
Okay? It also means you would have to source and list 26 items a day, and you would have to sell 9 items a day at those numbers.
Okay.
So you would have to go and find 26 items a day because you have to take pictures and list them and all that good stuff.
But not weekends. That's just Monday through Friday?
I said...
Weekends off.
I did write down take weekends off and holidays off.
Okay.
So it's 250 weekdays.
Weekdays. Gotcha.
Yeah, I did do that. Again, this is like 3 weeks ago when I wrote this. So.
Oh, nice. I just figured I would ask if someone else was thinking the same thing I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because this is all new to me.
So if you break it down like that, you would have to spend $94,200. You would have to source and list at least 26 items a day, and you would have to make sure that 9 items a day are selling. Mm-hmm. That's with taking weekends and holidays off.
Right, and the profit at $25 per item, right? So it needs to sell for about $40.
Right. Well, no, because after fees and shipping and all that stuff, you would have to source for 15 and sell for probably like 60.
Okay,
plus.
right. Cost of goods, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
So, and that'll get you to that number of $78,500. So just that little snapshot, that's what it takes to be considered a full-time reseller.
Okay. Right.
A lot of people don't look at the numbers like that.
Yeah.
So,
or if you have a partner in your house making 50% of $78,500 and you want to make 50% of the other $78,500, you would cut all of those numbers in half.
Sure.
Basically.
And again, going back to it, it varies state to state. I know cost of living is different in certain places. It's not super high in Florida, but it's not super low in Florida. I know in like certain areas, the median household income is like $25,000. So if you're making $40,000, you're crushing it, right? But in California, certain places, the median household income is like
disgustingly high. Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
It varies, but I just wanted to break those numbers down for you guys so you can get an idea of what full-time reselling numbers look like. Okay? So that's purely the money side of things. That's just to say I'm a full-time reseller.
Right.
So what else is involved now? Because when you go and get a job, if you get a salary job at $78,500, you get other things too, like benefits and health insurance and sometimes life insurance and 401k.
And they
retirement.
match 401ks up to what the first, however much it is.
Yeah. And then you also have a set schedule. You know exactly what you're doing. It's not flexible, right? But, maybe you like that. Maybe you want to have that set schedule.
True.
I don't know. So other factors to consider. Health insurance.
Health insurance is a big one. People ask us about that all of the time, and we say, be healthy now.
So, we're young and healthy now, so it's not something that we are super duper focused on, but you can go and buy a healthcare plan if you want to. They're not cheap. They are expensive, but it's something that you have to work into it.
Yes.
And it's based off, a lot of the times it's based off your income if you're buying certain health plans.
True.
For us, most of the time, what makes sense. So we have different things in place, but for us, most of the time, what makes sense is we pay cash for things.
Right.
For health. So, and that's dental, health, checkups, physicals, everything. Most of the time, it just makes more sense for us, not for everybody, but for us where we are right now, our ages and our current health, it makes more sense for us to just pay cash.
Right.
The rate's cheaper, and based on our like income level, our monthly health bill was like $700 a month. So instead of paying that, for us, it makes more sense just to pay it out of pocket. And have a health savings account and all that good stuff.
Yes, health savings account.
But I mean, that's something that you have to consider. If you have a family, we don't have a family. It's just the two of us. So we don't have as much concern with that type of thing. But if you have a family, if you want to start a family, kids are expensive.
Very expensive. Kids need to go to the doctor a lot.
Mm-hmm. We have friends that have had children, and that doesn't, just the process of having a child is very expensive.
Right. It's like minimum $10,000.
Yeah.
In our area, at least.
It's all stuff that you want to consider. before you go, okay, I'm ready to go to be a full-time reseller. Yeah.
Yeah, health insurance is only one of the things.
So, and then the other thing is an emergency fund. Now, I think that everybody should have an emergency fund, whether you're self-employed or whether you're employed, by a company or something. But I think having an emergency fund is super important. I think that when you are a full-time reseller or any, full-time entrepreneur, I think that you should have a larger emergency fund than a typical worker out there.
Oh, yeah. And everyone we know who has their emergency fund, they always end up needing their emergency fund for a big, like a catastrophic event, right? Like their AC goes out. There you go. We know someone that just happened to. And so that's an easy $1,200. And so that fund is always going into something. No matter how prepared you are in life, that fund will always need to be spent on something. So you need to make sure that you put yourself in a position to have that fund. Because, life's expensive.
And we tell people, like, before you go full-time, before you quit your job and you start going full-time, and this isn't financial advice, this is just what we think is a good idea, right?
We're not CPAs, we're not accountants, and we're not
disclaimers,
financial advisors. This is just from our experience.
But, we tell people to go full-time into reselling, I suggest you have 6 months of an emergency fund ready to go. Personal funds in the bank, cash, ready to go. So, and if you look at that, right, if it costs you $4,000 a month just to live, just to pay your bills and put a little bit away for savings and run your lives and pay for stuff, you would need to have a cash reserve of $24,000.
Which is a lot of money.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's just that's just money that you leave. Like you put it in a high yield savings account and you just leave it there for emergencies. Yes. So a bigger emergency fund when you're out on your own and you don't have a guaranteed paycheck coming in, I think is important.
Right. General idea of guarantee, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. You know what I mean.
And then what about like retirement, 401ks, IRAs, all that good stuff?
Right.
What about it? Like,
right.
People come down on us all the time when they see us on YouTube and they're like, oh, you guys, you're not planning for the future and you don't know what you're doing. And we're like, well, we are, because we have 401ks and we have IRAs. Like, this is something you can do yourself. You don't have to be gainfully employed to have a retirement plan. We are planning for retirement. Even though we're young, we're making sure that we're setting aside a certain amount of money a year. We're maxing out our SEP IRA, we're maxing out our 401ks, because we know that eventually we're going to have to retire.
And you should talk to a financial advisor about that.
Yeah.
A good one.
I think so.
Like, that is something that you need to take into account.
Yeah. You
got to spend your money to save your money, right? Like,
exactly.
You don't want to not do the right thing. That's going to cost you a lot of money down the road. So you need to put a value in educating yourself on what to do with your money.
Right. So that's a lot about the money side of things, right? Now let's talk about the time. A lot of people go, you guys are full-time resellers and you don't work that much, or it must be nice to make a full-time income and not have to go into work and work 8 hours a day or whatever, right?
Right.
But the reality is we work a lot more, I think, than most people.
Everyone conceptualizes every career in their mind as probably not what it is unless they know someone doing it in particular.
Right.
Yeah.
And, if you break it down hourly, if we're working, let's say we're working 60 hours a week, which I think is on the lower end most of the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, we never stop, but let's just say like the average reseller before you started YouTube.
That's true too. We are doing other things.
Before we started YouTube and an Instagram account.
True. So let's go on 40 hours a week then. Let's just call it a normal day job. So if you're working 40 hours a week, right? So let's take 78,500 and divide it by 52 weeks in a year, $1,509. Okay. And then let's divide that by 40 hours a week. $37 an hour is what you would be making if you're a full-time reseller, which is very good. I mean, it is very good. But let's say there's 2 people working on it. Now it's $18 an hour. Mm-hmm. So that's something else to consider. Like, reselling full-time, you have to be passionate about it because there's other things you could be doing that could make you the same amount of money.
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
If you're looking at two people, like it's a bit easier to make $40,000 a year than it is to make $78,000 a year.
It is, yeah. But if you're breaking down your numbers, and that's why it's important to watch like how much time are you putting out there, how much money are you actually making. Because if you break it down and you go, I'm working 60 hours or I'm working 40 hours this week and I'm only making $10 an hour. When I break it down, all the time that I'm spending on actually reselling, is that worth it?
Right.
Is it worth it for you? If you're part-time, I mean, sure. If it's just a hobby, sure. But if you're full-time doing that, and you're only making $10 an hour, like that's minimum wage.
Or if that's what you're making currently and you want to move into full-time and you do have extra time, you need to bump that number up, what you're making hourly, before you can leave your job and go into full-time comfortably.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless your job is keeping you so busy that you couldn't double or triple it until you left your job, right? And you knew that you could and still source. So there's a lot of things to consider there in itself. Yeah.
And then like also quality of life. Like do you enjoy what you're currently doing? Do you like reselling more? A lot of the times when a hobby becomes a job, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to consider that. If you have to do the nitty-gritty day-to-day things of reselling, you have to do the shipping, and if that was your full-time job, like, is it something that you like to do?
Right, because think about it. You're going to have to scale, if it's a hobby, your hobby up, probably times 4. I would say on average, the people who are selling hardcore as a hobby, they're going to need to at least grow times 4. Are you capable of growing that times 4? Like, mentally, emotionally, and financially, like, can you go to the thrift stores and source 4 times more?
Exactly. Like, do you have the ability to source
that there? Yeah, because a lot of people don't have access to more. They only have what they have.
And most full-time resellers are not just thrifting. They are buying wholesale. They have connections with other people where they can get inventory from on a regular basis.
Yeah. If you want to go from a hobby to full-time, do you have connections yet?
Exactly. Exactly.
You can't just jump into it.
Oh, and then the other thing is like, how self-motivated are you? Right? It's kind of easy to have a job where your boss tells you these are your tasks, this is what you have to do to get paid, otherwise you get fired. When you don't have a boss, when you're just reselling for yourself full time, sometimes you'll wake up in the morning and not want to go to work and you're not motivated. So can you get yourself out of that funk? How do you do it? Have you tried to do that before? And how do you motivate yourself to go and do it every single day?
Have you successfully done that before? Have you been in that situation where you know how you can handle it? Like, holding yourself accountable is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Someone else holds you accountable, that's a different story. Procrastination, are you a procrastinator? If you're a huge procrastinator, it might not be right for you.
100%.
Because I was a procrastinator, and it was like a disease inside of me. And then I got to the point in life where I couldn't survive if I kept procrastinating, and I got past that, and I felt like I overcame something that was just weighing my entire life down, So have you gotten past that point of procrastination if you used to be a big procrastinator, Like, you need to understand your mental state
100%.
at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go into like our experience now.
Us.
What's something that you hate about being a full-time reseller?
Hate about it?
Yeah.
Well, when we
started, what do you not like about it?
It was very frustrating before we were doing consistent wholesale to get inventory that was worth our time, because then we knew we had to get better stuff.
Yeah.
So stuff that would actually had a better sell-through rate. Like, that was very annoying and frustrating.
Yeah.
Was finding somewhere to source.
Finding
Consistency of inventory.
Yeah.
That was very frustrating.
What about now?
Now?
Yeah, like if someone asked you like what's your least favorite thing about the business? What do you think it is?
I honestly think that
Be honest.
the mental state of it can be very lonely.
Yeah.
I think that is very tough, that it can be lonely.
Agreed.
Because I'm a very sociable person. I like to be around lots of people, and this COVID thing has taken a toll on me emotionally, just not seeing people and friends and having that that physical friendship level that we've had. And a lot of people can't handle the loneliness, and we really need to address that. Like, if you're doing it by yourself, it's very lonely, and it will take a toll on people.
And a lot of people are feeling that now too. Even if they're not resellers, a lot of people are working from home and they're stuck. And I've talked to a lot of people that have been in bad mental states, and we've been through it too. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's been tough during these times to, not financially, but just like Ali said, mentally. It's difficult sometimes. We're lucky because we have each other. We have Ben and Callie and Mike, and we have people that we can talk to. We have this community too. You guys help us a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that if I could give one piece of advice for that, if you're feeling in a bad, like lonely mental state, reach out to people.
Yeah, you need a network.
Network and
have your people you talk to.
Understand that like we all go through the exact same things. You know, we've had people reach out to us before and say, hey, I'm going through this. Have you guys been through it before? And we can kind of like help guide people through that as well. Yeah. So, what else?
What do I not like about reselling?
No, like let's switch it up now. What do you like? What do you think is a huge benefit to being full-time?
I think the biggest benefit to being full-time is freedom. But because we've given ourselves that freedom, not everybody puts themselves in a position where they have the freedom.
Yeah.
But yes, if you do it right, the freedom is the number one best part about reselling for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can set our own schedule. We can change our schedule at the drop of a dime if we want to. You know, when traffic is really bad, we'll set our schedules so that we miss traffic. We don't have to be stuck in rush hour.
We can take our dogs to work.
We can take our dogs to work.
So we don't have to be home.
Exactly. There's no dress code.
No dress code.
We can, when we were allowed to travel, we could take, you know, last year, 2019, we took like 2 months off total.
Yes.
We didn't travel the whole time.
All combined.
But combined, we took like 2 months out of the year off.
Yes, and we went lots of places and did lots of things.
Yeah, this year not so much, but...
No, not this year. Yeah.
Hopefully that changes a little bit. But yeah, I totally agree with that. I think the biggest thing is once you have everything in place, the freedom really is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
An amazing thing. I think that for me, the most difficult thing at the beginning was the financial side of things.
Stability,
Consistency. And then also like I'm a risk taker, but it's easier for us to take risks because one, I've owned businesses before, so I understand that there's risk associated with it. Allie understands that too because she's been through me with all the ups and downs with all the businesses.
All the ups and downs.
Yeah, failed and
successes.
Prosperous. Yeah. And like we're lucky that we can do that, but there's still like there's something about spending your last dollar, not knowing if you're gonna have the money to pay your bills at the end of the month. You know what I mean?
And you were a lot younger then,
yeah.
And there was a point where Ryan he knew he couldn't afford to live somewhere, and I was like, just come stay with me for a few months. And you were basically homeless for a few months, and it was fine. Like, we figured it out.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were young. We didn't have children. And I was still living at home then because I was in college when that happened. Yeah. And it wasn't a big deal.
But I think that it wasn't a big deal. But I still think that, like, that's kind of, like, something you have to go through, too. You know, because it makes us now, it makes us appreciate what we have and also hold on to what we have. And not, you know, I never want to go back to that situation, so we'll do what needs to be done to make sure that we are in a good financial situation so that doesn't happen.
And we've learned so much from that situation, and you going through that situation has inspired you to make different choices.
Sure.
When the time came.
And again, also it's inspired us to help other people not make the same bad decisions, you know?
Yeah.
Like I put a post on Instagram yesterday, just kind of, because I feel like a lot of resellers just don't actually look at the numbers. And I put a post on Instagram breaking down like if you're buying off-brand Walmart brands, and even if you're getting it for a stupid good price, so if you're buying wholesale and you're getting it for $2 a piece and selling it for $10, at the end of the day you're only making, after fees, expenses, shipping, all that stuff, you're only making $1 profit per item pre-tax. You're still going to get taxed on that. And you have to decide, like, is your time and effort worth doing that? Or are you just feeding somebody else who's taking advantage of you by selling you that crappy wholesale?
Right.
So
that's a good point.
It's something you have to consider, and it irks me because a lot of new resellers, they go, okay, well now I want to go full time. The next step to going full time is I have to start buying wholesale.
Right, and they're just like, can I get something cheap enough that sells for enough? And maybe you can, but typically in that situation, yeah, you'll buy a pallet of something that's really, really cheap. Nobody wants that stuff. That's why it's in a pallet.
A
and
lot
it's
of the
junk,
time, yeah.
and you thought, oh, you got a good deal on it because maybe it sold somewhere once for a bit of a profit, but you're just going to sit on that stuff and you literally just threw money away into junk. You need to get better quality stuff. It's quality over quantity. And that's where a lot of people, when we do like our store reviews, we see they're not buying good stuff. They're buying things that maybe sold one time and they see that one sale and they don't realize, there's like 6 to 20 of these same things listed. It was not necessarily a fluke, but it was probably a fluke.
It was probably a fluke. So like you have to know your numbers and be confident before you go full time. And again, have savings built up. Just know what you're doing. Like, I don't know, the main reason I see people fail when they go full time is they don't have cash flow. Like, they run out of money.
Yeah, their time is more valuable than what they're working for.
Yeah. It's not because they don't like doing it. It's not because they don't have a passion for doing it. It's just because they don't know their numbers. They're not buying right. They're not selling right. So,
buying right it's
very important.
So important. So important.
And then, you got to do stuff like file for a business and like pay taxes.
Yeah, paying taxes. Yeah. Two things in life you can't avoid: death and taxes, right?
Whether you're full-time or not, like, you would be surprised how many times we get the question come in that's like, hey, I got a 1099 from PayPal. Do I have to like claim that? Dude, yes. If you made money online, like, you have to pay taxes. It's income. You can obviously write off a bunch of stuff, and that's why having a good CPA is a good idea. But, you got to pay
educating yourself. It's not that hard in today's world with all the technology that we have to educate yourself. And you might find some inaccurate things, but if you read enough information, don't let it scare you or get you down or just overwhelm you. Figure it out.
Right.
If you're smart enough to resell, you're going to be smart enough to figure that out.
Yeah.
Reselling is hard.
It is hard. It is hard.
It's a learning process as well. And you have to be able to go out there and teach yourself if you want to resell successfully.
And I think that if I can say one thing overall is being a full-time reseller is not for everyone.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
let's emphasize that.
It's probably not for 95% of people.
Correct.
And I think that a lot of people do it as a hobby. They get excited and they get, they get like caught up in it and they just want to do it full time. And we're a part of that problem too. Like, we make videos sometimes showing only the good side of reselling.
True.
And people see one video and they're like, you guys, we went to a thrift store and made $1,000. Anybody can do this, blah, blah, blah. I quit my job.
And we also will make videos where we go out garage selling into thrift stores and we find like 3 things. And we talk about, we drove around, we did all of this, we spent all these hours working, and we only found this amount of stuff. So we
try to be real. We try to show the reality of things. But, it's not something that's for everybody.
No.
And there's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with doing it part-time. You do not have to do this as a full-time job. And just because we make a full-time income doing this doesn't mean that we're better than you. If you make a couple $100 a month selling stuff, you make $50 extra a month selling stuff, you're just as good as us. It doesn't matter. Like, if you're happy doing that, no worries, continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's really wonderful for people who just do it part-time, because if you have a job and you're hourly, right? Mm-hmm. You can't really squeeze blood from a rock, you know that saying? So let's say you are here's an example, a barista at Starbucks. And you like it. You love it. You like the smell of coffee. You like interacting with the customers. It's a chill job. You don't take work home with you. When you're home, you're home. You don't have anything to stress about, but you're only working 40 hours a week, and you have benefits through them because you're like, hey, I want to have some good benefits in a large company. I don't know if Starbucks has good benefits. I have no idea. But let's just
college sometimes.
Yeah, let's just say you have your health insurance through them, right? So you're only making however many dollars an hour you're making at the Starbucks, but you just would love that extra $500 to $1,000 a month, even maybe just $200 a month. Let's say you have a partner and your partner is making a decent wage and together you guys are comfortable. Sure. So that's great. Like, if you can just have your job that makes you happy. Like you work at Starbucks and it makes you happy. And reselling gives you all the extra cash flow that you need for fun stuff, and that job pays the bills.
That's great.
That's probably more suitable for the 90% of people.
Agreed.
If not higher.
Yeah.
And it is good to have that stability. Yep. I mean, granted, nothing is stable, right? Like the economy, you don't know. Like Starbucks could go belly up one day, or any company you work for. Not likely, because people are addicted to caffeine, and really Starbucks is doing pretty well. But they did close down 1,000 stores at one time. So you just don't know, and it is nice to have that extra.
And it's also good to have the skill to know how to resell, though.
Yeah.
So if for some reason you do end up losing your job and you need income transitioning between another job or something, it's good to have that skill.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Or if you're comfortable and you can pay all your bills, but you've never been able to afford to go on vacation, it's nice to have reselling so you can go on vacation.
Yeah. I do think that, the good outweighs the bad for us.
Yes.
Big time. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. I can tell you that with all the businesses that I've done, this is the one where I've had the happiest of times in reselling. Yeah. And the other cool thing that we didn't even talk about is we are also able to provide income for other people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought about it. As you were talking, I thought, like, it's cool that we can give someone a good job. Like Callie, it was hard for her to find something that made her happy. And her last job, it was a bit stressful, at times. And we know that we've given Callie a good career in life. And if she needs anything, like, we make sure that she's taken care of and her mom is taken care of. Yeah.
And it's
her back.
It's a stress-free type position too. Like obviously because we've been in jobs that we didn't like before in the past. Like we kind of know how to schedule things. Like Callie can pretty much do what she wants as long as she gets her work done.
Yeah, and we try when we make sure with Callie like that it's not monotonous. Like every single day she just comes in and ships and does this and does that. And that she loved editing, and so Ryan got her in on the editing because he knew that it would make his life a bit easier, but then also for Callie, like that would add a lot of value, that fun outlet for her because she's so great at editing. Like she's a hilarious person, so creative. So we knew that would be beneficial for everybody, and that is, part of what we do is trying to do new things. And we're always throwing curveball at Callie every once in a while just so that it doesn't stay boring and monotonous, because there's nothing worse than a super boring job. Like I'd rather be way more stressed than completely bored out of my mind. I feel like my 100%. Mind would rot.
And Callie's been with us today actually for 3 years.
That's what she told us. Yeah, we didn't realize.
It's crazy.
We got to do like a present for
present
Callie.
Party. I know.
What should we do?
I don't know. Let us know in the comments. What should we do for Callie?
Being with us for 3 years.
It's a big deal.
Cash.
Gosh.
Cash is king.
And speaking of, like, we'll probably end the video soon, but if you guys have any questions for us that we can help you answer, leave them in the comments of this video. We're fairly open with our business and with our personal lives, and if we can help you guys out in any way, we'll do what we can. So
We'll try
anyway. Did you want to just end it here then?
I don't know. Is that everything on your list?
Pretty much. Like,
you want to check it twice?
I think we covered pretty much everything.
Find out if we were good and nice.
I mean, the biggest thing is just don't go full time until you're ready. And if you're never ready, it's okay. It's not a big deal.
And it's not right for everybody. We just want to put an emphasis on that. We don't want to discourage somebody who thinks that it's right for them to not go ahead and make the plunge, but just be aware that there's so much that you need to consider before making a choice like that. And there is nothing wrong if you have your job and resell as a hobby just for the extra income, because having a job and the stability of a job is amazing.
It's right for a lot of
people.
people.
And we are very for that.
Yeah.
And we want people to do what's best for them and not what they think is exciting and great. Like, you really have to consider what's best for you and your family.
Never let another full-time reseller come down on you because you don't make as much money as them.
Oh, yeah. Does that happen?
It does. It happens a lot, and it's not cool.
That's terrible.
I know. We should all support each other.
Nobody should ever
No
do
names
that.
mentioned, but
okay,
we should all support each other. This is a very helpful community. If you get in the right community, we should all be lifting each other up. We all started somewhere. We started with $200, and we are where we are now. But we could absolutely lose it all and go back to that at any point. So
yeah, and you need to recognize your successes. Like, if you made $100 last month and this month you made $200.
Celebrate.
Like recognize, that you did that and give yourself a pat on the back. And even if you only made $100 last month and maybe only $50 this month, like at
Still
least
good.
you did that.
Yeah.
And you just need to recognize what you're doing and that you like it.
Yep.
And not necessarily reward yourself with physical things, but give yourself a pat on the back and recognize mentally that what you've done was good.
Yeah.
Go buy diamond rings now.
I love that. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Or listening if you're not watching. Please hit the thumbs up button on this video. Let us know. Maybe let us know some other subjects you would like us to talk about on our little YouTube podcast type thing.
I like that.
And we will see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ralli Roots.
I'm Ralli Roots. And together we are
Ralli Roots. Love you guys.
Peace.
Peace.